All right, fuckers, let's ditch the small talk and dive headfirst into the Big Bang Theory. You know, that show with the nerds and the hot chick next door. Who knew it'd blow up like this, huh? But here's the thing. We ain't just gonna rehash the plot. We're going behind the scenes into the shit they don't show you. The original pilot, the science, the crazy salaries, and the spin-offs that just keep coming.
Yeah, it's a wild ride, man. You think you know the show, but trust me, there's a whole universe of fucked up shit behind it.
So let's rewind to 2007, back when flip phones were still a thing. The Big Bang Theory drops its first pilot, and guess what? It was a total disaster. I mean, they should have just buried that shit and pretended it never happened.
It's true. The original pilot was completely different. Different female characters, different vibe. Even the theme song was different. You wouldn't even recognize it.
No penny. Seriously. Instead of Kaylee Cuoco, they had this other actress, Amanda Walsh, playing a character named Katie. She was supposed to be this hard-ass, street-smart chick, the total opposite of Penny.
And the theme song, forget the Bare Naked Ladies. They were using She Blinded Me with Science by Thomas Dolby. What the fuck were they thinking?
Sounds like they were trying to make a Frankenstein's monster out of sitcom cliches. Thankfully, they realized that shit wasn't working and went back to the drawing board. They brought in Cuoco as Penny, gave the characters more depth, and bam, magic happened.
It's crazy how one little change can completely change a show's fate. It's like the butterfly effect, one flap of the wings, and you go from a flop to a global phenomenon.
Okay, so they dodged a bullet with that first pilot. But here's something that might surprise you. For all the goofy jokes and nerd humor, the Big Bang Theory was pretty serious about the science.
Oh, absolutely. They had a secret weapon. A real-life physicist, David Saltzberg, he's a professor at UCLA, and he made damn sure those equations on the whiteboards weren't just bullshit. He fact-checked the dialogue, helped design experiments, even made sure the scientific papers Sheldon was reading actually made sense.
So while we were all laughing at Sheldon's quirks and Leonard trying to get laid, there was actual science happening in the background. Who knew?
That's one of the things that sets the Big Bang Theory apart. They mixed humor and science in a way that was actually entertaining and kind of educational. And you know what? It even got respect from real scientists. Physicists, engineers, even astronauts loved the show.
That's pretty damn impressive. Scientists aren't exactly known for their love of sitcoms.
Right. It's like the ultimate nerd approval.
Yeah.
And it probably helped that some of the actors, especially Jim Parsons, who played Sheldon, really tried to understand the science they were talking about.
Okay, before we move on, we got to talk about the elephant in the room, or should I say the giant pile of cash in the room. This show made bank, man.
Yeah.
The actors were swimming in money like Scrooge McDuck.
Oh, yeah. Their salaries were legendary. The kind of money that makes your head spin.
Think about it. Johnny Galecki, Jim Parsons, and Kaylee Cuoco started out making a decent 60 grand per episode. Not bad, right? But as the show got more popular, their paychecks exploded. By season 7, they were each raking in a whopping $350,000 an episode, plus a cut of the profits. That's like winning the lottery every week.
Insane, right? But you know what? They earned it. They carried that show, and they were damn good at it.
Absolutely. But here's where it gets even crazier. When Mayim Bialik and Melissa Rauch joined the cast as Amy and Bernadette, they weren't making nearly as much as the original 3. It was a pretty big pay gap.
Yeah, it caused a bit of a stir. People were talking about gender inequality in Hollywood.
So get this, the original 3 actually took a pay cut, so Bialik and Rauch could get raises. They each agreed to cut their salaries by $100,000 per episode.
Talk about taking one for the team. It doesn't happen every day that actors give up that much money to help their co-stars.
That's a class act right there. Shows they weren't just in it for the money, they actually cared about being fair. All right, so we've covered the train wreck of a first pilot, the real science, and the crazy money. Now let's get into the stuff that kept fans coming back for more, those recurring themes that made the Big Bang Theory what it was.
You mean the relationship drama? The awkward dates, the will they won't they bullshit. Oh, and let's not forget the damn broken elevator.
You read my mind. Let's start with Leonard and Penny. Their relationship was like watching a rom-com in slow motion, with all the awkwardness and hilarious screw-ups you'd expect.
Classic nerd meets hot girl, but they made it work. They had great chemistry, and their back and forth was always funny as hell.
From that first awkward meeting in the hallway to them finally getting married, their relationship was the heart of the show.
And let's be real, we were all rooting for them to figure their shit out. It was like watching a real-life love story with all the ups and downs.
Then there's Sheldon and Amy. Talk about a match made in science heaven.
Their relationship was a slow burn, for sure. It took them years to even hold hands, but that's what made it so damn charming. They were both so awkward and weird, but they found each other and they made it work.
And who could forget their relationship agreement?
Hmm.
Sheldon, being Sheldon, had to have everything in writing. Date nights, cuddling, it was all scheduled and regulated. Hilarious.
That was so Sheldon. He needed rules for everything, even love. But under all that uptightness, you could see how much he cared about Amy.
The relationship showed that even the biggest weirdos can find love. And sometimes, opposites really do attract.
Speaking of weirdos, we can't forget Howard's mom. We never even saw her face, but that booming voice, man, it was a character in itself.
Mrs. Wolowitz, that woman was a force of nature. It was like she was always yelling, even when she was just asking Howard to pick up some milk.
And the food. She was always trying to feed him, even though he was a grown-ass man living on his own. It was hilarious.
It was funny, but also kind of sweet. You could tell she loved her son, even if she was a bit much.
Sadly, the actress who voiced Mrs. Wolowitz, Carol Ann Susie, died back in 2014.
It was a huge loss for the show, man. They wrote her death into the show, and it was a pretty emotional moment.
It was a good way to honor both the actress and the character. They even kept her voicemails on Howard's phone, which is a nice touch.
Okay, one more recurring theme we got to mention. That damn broken elevator.
Oh yeah, that elevator was busted for almost the entire run of the show. It was like part of the set.
Seriously.
Yeah.
They didn't fix it until the very last season. It was like a symbol of how messed up the characters were.
But you know what? It actually worked. That broken elevator led to some of the best scenes with everyone crammed on the stairs.
You're right. Those stairway conversations were way more interesting than the ones in the apartments.
It was like forced intimacy, you know? They couldn't get away from each other, so they had to actually talk to deal with their shit.
It's crazy how something as simple as a broken elevator can become such a big part of a show.
It's kind of like life, right? Sometimes the things that seem like obstacles end up making us grow.
Deep, man. Deep.
Yeah.
All right, let's come back with more juicy details about the Big Bang Theory. You won't believe what's next.
That busted elevator was a gold mine for comedy, man. Remember that episode where Sheldon gets trapped in there with Penny's ex, Zach?
Oh, hell yeah. Zach, that poor bastard, had no clue what was going on. He thought Sheldon was trying to hit on him.
And Sheldon, being Sheldon, just kept rambling about string theory and dark matter. Poor Zach was probably like, what the hell is this guy talking about?
Speaking of things that come out of nowhere, let's talk about that theme song, man. The History of Everything by Bare Naked Ladies. Pure earworm material. You can't help but sing along.
It's a pop culture classic for sure. Everyone knows that damn tune.
But get this, that song almost didn't happen. Ed Robertson, the Bare Naked Ladies frontman, wasn't into writing theme songs for TV shows.
Thought it was beneath him, huh? Like a sellout move.
Yeah, but then fate stepped in. Robertson's reading a book about the Big Bang, and bam, inspiration hits him like a ton of bricks. He starts writing lyrics, and the rest is, well, history.
And here's the kicker. He actually freestyled a rap about the Big Bang at a concert. And guess who's in the audience? Chuck Lorre and Bill Prady, the guys who created the Big Bang Theory.
Talk about being in the right place at the right time. They were blown away and practically begged him to write the theme song.
Thank God he did. It's a damn good song. Perfectly captures the show's whole science and humor vibe.
Okay, let's switch gears for a minute and talk about the show's legacy. The Big Bang Theory ran for 12 seasons, man. That's insane for a sitcom.
It shows you how much people love the show. They created characters you actually cared about, and they talked about shit people could relate to, like relationships and being a nerd in a world full of jocks.
And let's not forget how it changed pop culture. The Big Bang Theory made it cool to be a geek.
For real. Suddenly, it was okay to love comic books, video games, all that nerdy stuff. It became mainstream.
And it wasn't just about the entertainment either. The Big Bang Theory got a lot of people interested in science.
Yeah, having a real scientist on set made a difference. The science was legit, and they made it interesting for people who didn't know shit about it.
Who knew you could learn about string theory while watching a sitcom?
Right. The writers and creators deserve props for that. They made science fun and easy to understand.
But with all the good stuff, there was also some drama. Remember that plagiarism shit with the Belarusian show, The Theorists?
Oh, yeah, that was a mess. It was a straight-up copy of The Big Bang Theory. Same characters, same plot lines, the whole 9 yards.
Chuck Lorre, the show's creator, was pissed. He called them out on one of those vanity cards at the end of an episode.
It was a blatant ripoff, and thankfully it got shut down pretty quick. But it just shows you how big The Big Bang Theory was. People were literally stealing their ideas.
And then there was that whole controversy about the comment about Madhuri Dixit, the Bollywood actress.
Oh, yeah, that didn't go over well.
No.
Some characters said some stupid shit about her, and people in India were not happy.
It started a whole debate about cultural sensitivity and humor on TV.
Yeah, gotta be careful with that shit. What's funny in one country could be offensive in another.
True that.
Mm.
So let's move on to something more fun. Let's talk spin-offs. The Big Bang Theory spawned a whole damn universe of its own.
Oh yeah, the franchise is still going strong. First, there was Young Sheldon, that prequel showing Sheldon's childhood in Texas.
That show is adorable, man. Mini Sheldon navigating the world with his little professor logic.
And get this, the idea for Young Sheldon actually came from Jim Parsons.
No way.
Yeah, he pitched it to the producers, and they loved it. It was a smart way to show Sheldon's backstory and give the fans more of what they wanted.
And it's been a hit, too. It's like a cute little companion to the original show.
But it didn't stop there. In 2024, we got Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage, which is all about Sheldon's older brother becoming a dad.
That one was unexpected. Who would have thought Georgie would be the one settling down first?
It was a gamble, but it paid off. It showed a different side of the Cooper family and dealt with being young parents, responsibility, all that.
And I hear they're working on another spinoff about Stuart Bloom, the dude who owns the comic book store.
Stuart, seriously. He's a funny guy, but can he carry a whole show?
I don't know, he might surprise us. He's got that lovable loser thing going on, and his thing with Denise is pretty funny.
I guess we'll see. But it just goes to show the Big Bang Theory train keeps on rolling even years after the original show ended.
It's like a hydra. You cut off one head, two more grow back.
Or maybe it's more like a black hole, just sucking everything in, getting bigger and bigger.
And you know what? I'm okay with that. As long as they keep making good shows, I'm happy to go along for the ride.
Me too. It's a fun world to escape to, and let's face it, we could all use a little escape these days.
All right, let's wrap up this crazy trip through the Big Bang Theory's behind-the-scenes shit with a look at where it all leaves us.
Oh.
So, what's the final verdict on this cultural juggernaut? So we've dug through the wreckage of that first pilot, gawked at the real science they snuck in, and talked about the insane money they made. But did the Big Bang Theory actually change anything?
Oh, it definitely left a mark, man. Think about it. Before the Big Bang Theory, being a geek was still kind of, a fringe thing.
Tell me about it. I was the only kid in my class who knew what a Klingon was.
Exactly. But the Big Bang Theory brought all that nerdy shit into the mainstream. Suddenly, everyone was talking about comic books and superheroes.
It's like the show gave nerds permission to be themselves.
Right. And it wasn't just about normalizing geek culture. It also humanized scientists. It showed they weren't just boring lab rats. They could be funny, weird, even romantic.
I gotta admit, Sheldon Cooper changed the way I thought about physicists. Who knew they could be so damn entertaining?
Exactly. And it's not just Sheldon. Leonard, Raj, Howard, they all broke the mold of what a scientist is supposed to be.
They were smart as hell,
Yeah.
but they were also messed up.
Yeah.
They were looking for love and connection just like everyone else.
And I think that's why people connected with them. You didn't have to understand string theory or Star Wars to relate to these guys.
It was like watching a funhouse mirror reflection of yourself, with all your quirks and wins.
Exactly. And let's not forget the show's impact on science, man. Having that real physicist on set kept things accurate, and it got some people actually interested in STEM.
I've heard stories of kids who became scientists because of the Big Bang Theory. Pretty cool, huh?
Damn right. It shows that even TV can make a difference.
So yeah, the Big Bang Theory wasn't just some dumb sitcom. It was a goddamn phenomenon that changed how we see geeks, scientists, and maybe even ourselves.
It told us it's okay to be smart, to love the shit you love, and to let your freak flag fly.
And that's a legacy worth remembering. All right, folks, there you have it. We dug into the origins, the science, the money, the drama, and the impact of the Big Bang Theory. Hope you learned something and had a few laughs along the way.
It's been a blast.
Until next time, keep it nerdy, you magnificent bastards.